whānau. No mai, haere mai, and welcome back to episode 5 of the Up2 podcast with Jack and Morgan. I am just deeply honoured, super excited to have our special guests for today. We've got Ro and Jack here. A little bit of a backstory. So I met Ro through uni. She was actually one of my favourite lecturer. Let's put that out there. And then, that was a couple years back. And Ro just had such a massive impact on my journey through youth development, but also in Te Ao Māori. I'm beyond grateful for all the whakaaro and stuff you have shared with me. Don't want to make you cry or anything like that. I'm just stoked to have you here today. I know Jack's just as excited as I am because you're someone that we've wanted to talk to, and it's awesome to have you both here. Can't wait to hear both of your thoughts on all the lifestyle choices you've made and everything that you're doing now, because, it's just super cool to see. And we're just happy to be here on the journey with you. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. Honestly, my head is just seriously just growing right there.
Yeah.
But no, it's real cool to be here. It's, totally proud teacher moment, I guess, to see both of you doing your thing. And I think it's an awesome space to be in, and there is so much negativity out there at the moment, so spreading positivity is awesome. We need more of it. So very, very honoured to be here, and hopefully we can share some gems, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Cool. Well, to kick us off, should we do a check-in, just in true youth development style?
Oh, I love this.
Love a check-in.
Love it.
So should we just all say, how are we feeling today? Trying to think of a bonus question.
If you could travel anywhere right now, and COVID wasn't a worry, budget wasn't a worry, where would you go? If you could travel anywhere.
Wow.
That's so
Cool.
good.
And what would you do? Oh yeah, why would you travel there? Do that as well.
Who wants to start? Do you want to have a moment to think, or are you?
We'll let you guys do that.
Cool.
That's fine.
Nice. Jack, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm feeling good today, feeling charged. Cup's feeling full at the moment because we've been able to see a few of the homies, a few of the fam, so that's been real cool. But a place that I'd love to go right now is Tahiti. Because we were watching this thing on... Well, we were watching this thing on TVNZ the other day, and it was mean. It was... what was the name of it? I think it was called Origins. Okay. Have you guys ever heard of it?
Oh, is that with Scotty Morrison?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we watched that, and just hearing the story of how all the waka, going from Hawaii and then travelling through Raro, travelling through Tahiti and all that. So I really want to go to Raro, and he went to this place where it was kind of like the meeting place for when all the waka would come, and they'd all chill at this one spot and congregate, and they were talking about old really prolific ancestors that met and had meetings there. So I'd love to travel to Tahiti and spend a bit of time over there. That'd be ace.
Yeah, I love that. Love that.
Hard.
Yeah. Wow.
After you.
Well, you took mine. You took mine. That's exactly what I was going to say, word for word.
Yeah.
No. I'm feeling really good today. Just, again, really happy to have you both here. And the sun's out as well, so that just makes everything so much better. I feel like it's so underrated. I'm like, can't have a bad day if it's sunny. I'm really happy. Had a terrible sleep last night because of the full moon. That full moon, honestly, every time I have a bad sleep, I was awake just until 4 a.m, just on and off, couldn't, and I was just on. And every time the full moon comes around, I don't even know that it's a full moon, and I have a bad sleep, and then I check the next day and it's always a full moon, and I'm like, I really get affected by it. It's not even in my head, it's genuinely does. So I've been up all night, so that's really nice. But if I could go anywhere, it definitely would be Tahiti. Also would love to go over and see my whānau over in Australia because I haven't seen them in ages. So that would be quite cool to kind of get that sort of cup filled.
Yeah.
But definitely go to Tahiti before the Gold Coast, to be fair. But that's me. Over to you guys.
Go.
Oh, really? Okay. Same, I guess, in a good space. Enjoying being back in Auckland. After the time being away, being around family and friends, and I think that's really been good for the soul. It's been good inside. I guess favourite place? Oh, that's a hard one, eh? There's so many places out there. I think Rarotonga I'd like to go go back to and explore in a different way. Get to having been there before, it felt like I was actually back in Auckland in New Zealand. Everyone seemed so familiar looking. You felt like you'd already met these people, and the conversations flowed really easily. So I'd really like to go back there and explore that even more. And, I guess perhaps, discover this more about where we came from.
Absolutely.
And to touch on what you were talking about, the origin show. So we actually went to Wairau Bar. I think it features in that show. Absolutely love it. And I think we spoke about it. Sorry, going off track a bit. Last night when we watched the full moon. We actually referenced back to that, so it's quite interesting. And we referenced to Wairau Bar because, I think the full moon was that long, hadn't been since 1212. So we were thinking, who was here in New Zealand back then? So we referred back to actually Wairau Bar. Probably some ancestors that were there.
It's cool.
So it's nice that you brought that up. We're like, wow. Conversation last night,
Awesome.
So Rarotonga, I think, to explore a bit more of that. Where we've come from.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Oh, yay. I'm feeling really pumped and energized today. I think that comes from the eclipse. So eclipses are kind of known as like the changing moon, and they kind of like push you forward in your journey. So I'm so excited to see what changes are around the corner for us. And the last one, kind of made us stop our travels. I think from there we started conversation, so it did actually change us. So I'm really excited to see what's next.
Cool.
And if I could go anywhere right now, so many places. But I'm going to throw Ethiopia out there. And for me, it just feels like that's where human time began. They are also the only African nation. I'm not sure if they're the only nation, only African nation that was never colonized. So I think that's pretty awesome too. And just to go back to a place that is so ancient. Buzz me out completely.
That's a cool choice.
That's when I want to throw on a go.
Mean. I love that. Well, hopefully we get to do that sometime soon. Don't know when it will be, but it will happen and it will be great. Cool. And we'll all meet up in Raro after we've been to Tahiti. You've been to Ethiopia and then we'll all finish up in Raro. Cool. Well, I'm quite keen to kind of get into your sort of backstory, your upbringing, anything that's got you to where you are now. Obviously, like career changes and stuff have been massive in the lifestyle that you now live. So kind of how did you get there? What's your backstory? Where are you both from? Welcome to Say Your Pepeha. Welcome to let us in a little bit and just get kind of an all-round view of where you've come from and who you are.
All right.
Go for it.
Where do we even start? I guess at the moment we, I guess collectively are known as Culture.Travel.Groove on Instagram. Exactly. Check us out.
Just swipe up for the link.
So we started that about over a year ago. And that kind of, our journey kind of goes back a number of years. So we've been together as a couple for years and years and years. We didn't really do the stereotypical late teens, early 20 OE thing. For me personally, I was quite obsessed with my career. So I had it in my mind that I was going to be a superstar academic. So my background is in sociology with a youth development focus. I was just always kind of like, I just need to get all these degrees under my belt. And then after I finished my master's, I took a wee bit of a break and moved down to Canterbury and worked at Canterbury Uni in the Māori department there, supporting first-year Māori students. And that's where I kind of started doing my youth work type stuff, which was real cool. And really, I don't know, I kind of joked that I was teaching people how to adult. That, balancing kind of moving out of home, first breakup, study, work, just everything. And I was doing my PhD at the time. And so I was like working massively long hours and kind of resigned myself to the fact that once I got this PhD and I started doing this amazing research, that I'd do the kind of like international conference circuit, and that's how we'd travel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sick.
So that was always the goal. And then 2017 happened. So in 2017 sorry.
That's
It was
okay.
a hard year. It was real hard.
Yeah.
So in April, a few days before my mum's birthday, we lost my grandfather. So we had to come back up to Auckland. Work was real cool. They were like, here, have 2 weeks off, go do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But leaving was really hard.
Yeah.
My mum wasn't okay. My nana just lost her husband and she wasn't okay. And so then we had to go back, and then work was like, oh, yeah, sweet, like, get back into work. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, but actually I haven't had a chance
Yeah.
to grieve and go through my process yet. And then just as we were starting to get kind of come right, I guess, we probably weren't looking after ourselves that well.
Yeah.
But then we lost Jack's mum.
Oh, wow.
So a couple of days before your birthday.
Man.
Yeah, and that was real hard. And around like the tangi process, we just went into and used our strengths really.
Yeah.
And we're just like, right, we've got a tangi to organise.
Yeah.
And so just kind of like, right,
Yeah.
I'm getting all the whānau together. We had whānau hui every day.
Yeah.
Kind of everyone knew what they were doing. I was in the background with a list going, we need to get this, and this done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so much to do. So then we went back to Christchurch, and then we were just like, oh shit, like, we're not okay.
Yeah.
And with that, we'd been eating through our emotions.
Yeah.
So we were like
Yeah.
pretty much living on takeout and shit food.
Drinking our emotions.
Yeah.
Drinking,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
And we weren't okay. So after a little while, it took us maybe a couple of months.
Yeah.
We were like, nah, something's got to change.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we sat down and we're like, it's time for us to do something for us.
Yeah.
And that included like our health and everything. So we had been donating to a gym and not really
Oh, we all
going.
know those ones.
I've done that too. Yeah. Help keep that equipment good, eh? For the ones who use it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember
right?
every couple of days cleaning it.
Yeah.
So we found a gym that was like 2 minutes down the road, so we had zero excuses.
Yeah.
And that coincided with a program that they had, so we signed up to like their 12-week program. And then when we were thinking about, so what can we do to raise us back up and to fill our cups back up, I'm like, well, and at that time I had suspended my PhD because I was just like, look, I just actually need to deal with me.
Yeah.
So we thought, screw it, let's go overseas. So I went to work and I was like, look, I need 6 weeks. We took 6 weeks, eh?
Yeah.
I need
Wow.
6 weeks off.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
they were awesome. They were like, yeah, okay, I understand. I was like, this is for my mental
Yeah.
health. I have to
Yeah.
do this. You kind of went to your job and was just like, I am doing this.
Yeah,
This is
I was
gonna
working
happen.
with an employer that was, you go to them, you say that you'd like to have leave at this time.
Yeah.
And in the time that I was there, I witnessed them turn down so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And without any regard to why the trip was required.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
was for best friends' weddings or family events.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem right that you would deny for those
Oh,
reasons.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just figured that, look, regardless, considering everything that's gone on and why we were going to do it,
Yeah.
I was just going to go and just, I guess I'd take whatever the consequences were.
Yeah.
So, when I said to my boss, look, I need this leave, and she's like, well, I'll get back to you. I said, well, I've already booked the ticket.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're like, go.
Oops.
I tried to ask me, but I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And, she did say to me, well, what would you have done if I'd said no? I was like, well, I guess I'd be resigning when I
Yeah.
it's
See
pretty
ya.
simple. So, it was a different process.
Yeah.
And I guess my journey up to that point, 2017, for me, I guess a lot different from Roisin's. It's, I don't know, my last year of school was virtually don't come back.
Yeah.
Some people might have said I was hanging with the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
But, no, they were my mates. I don't think there was
Yeah.
too much wrong with them.
Yeah.
Mum got me a job in the factory making furniture.
Yeah.
So no excuses to miss a day at work.
Yeah.
And then did a bit of time in the territorials, which was really great. Kind of, I think, gave me some better direction.
Yep.
And then from another job, had a really good manager who really encouraged everybody from the bottom of the business upwards to be at the same level. There was
Cool.
no no real hierarchy as such. Everybody
cool.
was as important to everybody.
Yeah, man.
And later in life, I learned he was probably quite revolutionary in his way of thinking.
Yeah.
And he really encouraged us to learn. So I borrowed a mate's suit. I had long hair.
Yeah.
Big goatee, and borrowed my mate's suit and went and got a job in an office.
Cool.
And it was great. My first day in the office, I was a bit worried for the interview. I guess my perception of it in office workers was it was more of a white environment.
Yeah.
But actually, it was really brown when I got in there.
Yeah.
And I got that role and progressed into roles which actually later in life, and especially in 2017, made me realise that it didn't make me a very good person. While I was good at what I was being asked to do, they really conflicted with who I was.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it at first. It took a few years, and I think, Roisin would agree, I became a bit of an arsehole. Few stress, depression, anxiety, stuff like that really hit home.
Yeah.
Right.
And made me realise that actually it didn't matter how much money you were earning or how much they'd offer you.
Yeah.
It was never going to be enough to compensate for that.
Yeah.
So quite a bit removed from what Roisin was doing.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's worked out well. So 2017 happened, and we did a bit of travel. And I think,
Where do we go?
Oh yeah, so we did a bit of Vietnam, Cambodia, and
Nice.
Thailand.
Awesome.
Wow.
And I think when we were there in Cambodia, we probably had the first moment where we could actually grieve perhaps about what happened in that year.
Yeah.
There are a couple of events that took place where we were able to let go and then even reflect on with my mum for me to realise that actually what we were doing here was probably something that she'd really agree with.
Yeah.
And,
Cool. That's ace.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that had a big influence on us being able to do what we're doing now.
Yeah, it had a massive influence. For me, while we were there, I realised I didn't want to do my PhD anymore.
Yeah.
And that was that was a big one for me, because since I started uni, I turned up to my first lecture. I went, I want to be there.
Yeah. That was your goal, like.
Yeah, I was like, these people are super smart. They are making change in the world, and I want to be that person.
Yeah.
And in order to go about it, because up until I started my PhD, I'd always kind of been doing part-time tutoring at uni and stuff. So I was unemployed for half the year.
Yeah.
So I was poor, and I was over it. So when the PhD started, I was like, I'm done with being poor.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to try and work full-time and study full-time. And so it meant I was getting up at 5 a.m. trying to do 2-3 hours before I went to work, do work. Meant to be doing the gym.
Yeah, that gym slipped that story quite quick. Didn't even mention much about that.
And then trying to do stuff in the evening, weekends with study.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I doing this? None of this is making me happy.
Yeah.
And then I also realised that actually the PhD was just a matter of opening that door. Yeah. And there was still heaps more hard work to go before I was that superstar academic that I wanted to be. And because originally I was just like, once you can call me Dr. Bennett, the doors will open and it will be amazing. And it wasn't.
Yeah.
I started meeting other people that were a few years ahead of me who were just like, nah, it doesn't stop. The hard work keeps going.
Yeah.
And it's super competitive as well.
Yeah.
And so, while we were traveling, we probably the first real opportunity, we'd always heard of people that were digital nomads who managed to do a bit of work and travel and had this real cool balance going on.
Yeah.
But to actually observe that was real cool. And and so then I was like, they look genuinely happy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't say I'm genuinely happy.
Yeah.
Right. So we came back and had a bit of a conversation. I think we've done a budget. And so after we do horrible budget things, I'm like, we have to go do something nice now. So we're going
balance.
Yeah.
Don't spend the budget.
A little bit. Remind each other that we love each other, even though we might have had a bit of a tense conversation.
You're like, that was budget talk. That was me when I was budgeting. It's not who I am.
So we went out for this brunch, And I fully remember it. And we both sat there and we were like, actually, it would be cool to try and travel and let's walk away from what we're doing, and it's okay to change that. And so that really started the ball rolling, So from that time it took about another 6 months for us to be able to get ourselves in a position to move back to Auckland. So we moved back here, sorted some stuff out. The job, how we met, was kind of like my last. I was just like, I need to make sure that I am really, really prepared to walk away from this.
Were we the reason you walked away from it?
No, gosh, no. Not at all.
I was going to say, cut that first bit when I was so nice.
But when you've been working, like, honestly, I was like solidly been working on this for like, I don't know, a good 7 or so years, right? When you're, I had to make sure that I was making the right call. So I was like, I'll take this job, see if a change of environment might actually reignite that passion for me and show me this is where I want to be. And I love teaching you, and I loved our class and stuff. But the will to kind of have a better life balance was so strong. The allure of new and interesting places so strong. So, then we went over to Rarotonga. And so we did Raro end of 2019, 2020.
Actually, before that. So I think on my regime took that role just to see if the academia was still the place. I think it also, though, reinforced that there was all these really cool skills that she'd developed at in university that the PhD was leading towards. But I guess the PhD, being able to apply it in a practical way wasn't was so far off, or it wasn't going to eventuate.
So true. So true.
And I was able to step back sometimes and say, well, actually, it's not matching up to what you look for. So the role that she got with you guys at uni, it gave her a chance to actually apply a lot of the things that she was working towards. So it was great to see.
Awesome.
So, and I did see some real passion come back. May not have been for the academia, but the passion of being able to share
the knowledge.
To discuss those things, to actually put into action a lot of the things that she was already working for. So it was really exciting. It was really a cool time to see.
And you could see that passion come through, like, as being your student and stuff. Honestly, like, and you deserve that head to go. Those Jeds out there. Because honestly, it was pretty cool just reflecting on the first day when me and my uni friend Cleo first saw you. We saw your dreads first and we were like, yes, like, how cool. Like, are you serious? Is this actually going to be our tutor? Like, this is mean. And then you started talking, I think you were playing like reggae or something on the projector, and we were like just blown away. Like, we were beside ourselves, like, just, who is this new lecturer coming? Like, she's so awesome. But just the passion you have for just youth work, but not even just that, just all of the little bits of life tips you kind of gave us, which I don't think, they weren't part of a curriculum. They weren't part of anything that had to be done for an assessment or anything like that. We learnt so much more from the little bits, your little magic that you put on stuff that made it so easy to understand for a start, so practical, and it was actually stuff that, I still use today in my youth work and in life in general. Like, it was cool having that, not just a stock standard, we need to get through assessments, this is what you need to do. All of the support alongside that. Like, I remember I went through like quite a rough time during uni and stuff, and I think it was during a lockdown. And having, Ro be like, you can Zoom me, we can talk about it. I was like, I never thought I could get to that point of just talking to like a uni lecturer. You think they're like on this pedestal, and like, totally. She's human. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. And just having that support, not just in academic stuff, but personal life as well. Made such a difference and made the degree just fun. Like, it didn't feel like I was there and had to go to uni and it was like a drag or anything like that. Like, it genuinely, we looked forward to your classes, we got so much from it, and it's made both of an impact on my life and Cleo's life as well. I'm sure I could speak for her, to where we are today. So it's like, I'm really glad you did try it out a little longer to see if you wanted to do that, otherwise we wouldn't be here. So it's like, it's worked out really well. So just wanted to kind of reflect on that and just say how grateful, like, she was for that experience.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you.
That's all good.
I think that was always something that I aspired to be as that superstar academic. Like, I obviously wanted to be this, like, me. That's totally part of it. Yeah. But another part of it is I wanted to be real.
Yeah.
And I never really got why there was this distance between an academic and students. Like, it's like, no, I'm not an untouchable.
Yeah.
And I do go through my own struggles. Yeah. And I've learned so much from teaching you guys as well, because it's like, I might be a couple of years ahead in terms of my knowledge and my experience, but you bring your own life experience. Yeah. And I think when you're doing stuff like youth work, right, we've all had the experience of being young. Yeah. Yeah. Right? Everyone can turn around and say, can contribute something.
Yeah, can relate in some sort of aspect.
And for me, it's just as valid as I've done this research and I had this focus group and these people told me this. This is lived experience too. It's equally as valid. So I'm really, really stoked that worked. That kind of relatability was
honestly so cool.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No, it was awesome. And I know you've done a whole lot of stuff in other areas of youth development as well. Yeah. What's kind of been a highlight for you in your youth development career to date, apart from obviously teaching me?
Number one, shout out to Cleo as well.
Yes, and Cleo. Yes, sure.
So Cleo.
That's a real my number one highlight. I think for me, it coincides with my own identity journey. Mm-hmm. So I whakapapa to Ngāti Tūwharetoa, Ngāti Hikairo, Hapu in particular. And my kind of goes back to like my great-grandmother and my grandmother. And so my grandmother was raised as Pākehā when my great-grandmother died in childbirth with my nana's younger sister. So she then ended up at around the age of 5, being taken and basically being divorced from all of her taha Māori. And being raised as Pākehā. And then, of course, like she kind of passed it on to my dad. I really kind of always knew where I whakapapa to and that I had this other side to me. My mum's Irish, and that's where my name comes from. So I kind of got raised with more of like this Kiwi Irish type culture. And so when I started, doing my own research in sociology, it's like the study of groups and power and who are the winners and who are the losers and how can we maybe change that. And so I found that I was really studying Māori, like learning about my own people, and how Māori were constantly overrepresented in your negative social statistics. So, we incarcerate more Māori than anyone else. Māori have more obesity rates. They have, education and everything. And it was a real grim picture. And I had this light bulb moment. And you kind of learn about history as well and how, just constantly being screwed over all the time. And that just the impact of colonization. And I remember sitting there one day and going, that's me. I'm actually learning about me. Like I may not have had some of these same life experiences, but when you look at the statistics, I make up one of these numbers. And I'm just super fortunate that from my life that I'm on maybe another different side of those social statistics. But I can make change here and I can help. So I started owning it at uni and I started being like, okay, this is me. And a few people were just like, is it? Are you? I am. And so then when I took the job in Christchurch, that was probably my biggest kind of claim to it because I was working within the Māori department at uni and I learned so much there and they were amazing in supporting me and my growth and development and learning stuff. And then I had that opportunity to pass that on to people who are like me. And I realized that originally I was like, oh, no one's like me. Like, I'd turn up to Māori student things and I'll be just like, oh, the white girl in the corner. Oh, shame. And they'll all get up and sing their waiata and I'll be like, okay. okay, I don't really know this one.
Yeah.
And it was real confronting.
Yeah.
But then, I had the opportunity to support people that were going through the same things as me.
Yeah.
So part of my role down there was to run to rebuild and develop their Tuakana program. So I would go through and I'd have a look at like everyone's grades, and I'd do like outreach and be like, hey, how's it going? Come work with us. Like, we want you as a leader to inspire the first years that are struggling and stuff like that. And so I was constantly meeting with me's.
Mini me's.
Yeah. And people turn up and going, oh yeah, so I got good grades, yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, but actually I don't really know where I whakapapa to, and I've never had that opportunity to engage in the culture. And I was like, oh, I can help you because I was there not that long ago, and I kind of still am there, and we were just working through this together.
That's sick.
And it totally taught me that whakapapa is so important, eh? As long as you can whakapapa, you are Māori. You are Māori. Like, you whakapapa, you're Māori.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Yeah.
100%.
So, I think that's probably been my number one, is to see people grow in their confidence to be able to stand up, regardless of what they might look like, regardless of their history, and go, this is a part of my identity.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be proud of it, and I'm going to explore it and learn.
Yeah.
And we're all on this journey, and no one's you never get to the end.
Yeah.
And be just like, I'm 100% Māori now, and I know everything. It never occurs.
Yeah.
So we're all on this journey. So that's been my highlight.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, because I feel like I was one of those students that before I started there, I didn't acknowledge my Māori side at all. Like, I was completely separated from it. If anything, I was made to feel bad about being Māori. Like, it wasn't a good thing.
Yeah.
I've got Spanish in me as well, so I'd always claim that I was Spanish, because I'd be like, oh, Spanish is cool. You know, like, Spanish is sexy. Like, they've got like cool accents, and then I'd have people in my past being like, oh, like Māori, like rah rah. And I was always like, nah, I'm not. But I didn't realise, I felt that something was missing, but I didn't know what that was at that point. I was just like, something's missing. I'm kind of like grabbing onto the identities of other people, that I'm not being myself, like my true self. And I was like, what is it that's actually missing? And then, once I started going there and getting lectured by you, I was like, maybe this is it. And then as soon as we started doing, I can't remember what class it was, but we were in the marae and being really immersed in it. And we'd do karakia and we'd do waiata, and I'd be like singing the loudest that I like possibly could to try like lead it, like to kick it off and stuff, because I'd be like, oh cool. I'm pretty sure I like changed my pepeha like 4 times because my grandma was adopted. Like, it was really hard to figure out where I was actually from, because it just kind of kept swapping and changing. And because my nana was in that era where they were beaten for speaking te reo, like they were, you know, really heavily, you know, influenced by that. So I just think learning your whakapapa, however long it takes you as well, like it may swap and change and stuff, but you're still, as long as you're still searching that out and trying to figure it out. And now I've got it sus, because I've managed to get in touch with whānau who I haven't spoken to in ages and be like, hey, like, what's up, maunga? you know, and it's just like making that connection with people that I wouldn't usually speak to, but in order to find my whakapapa, that's created a connection for us, and now we talk, you know, like regularly and stuff, and I'm like, that's awesome, it's so true. Especially, you know, like looking white. I had someone that, you know, looked white as well, but was so really good.
Real handy
and like it shows, you know, and I was just so like amazed by it, being like, oh my gosh, you can be white, like looking and still be Māori and like be really into it. And I was like, that's mean. Like, and then as soon as I started on that journey, that identity, that feeling of identity flooded me, and I was like, yes, okay, now I've figured it out. Like, it took me a while, it took me like 28 years, but I got there. And now that I've got there, I couldn't go back, because I know that if I tried to suppress it any longer, something would have been missing for myself that just would have felt off. So again, I don't want this whole podcast to just be gassing you up, but like seriously, like having a role model like that in your life, and such a perfect timing for me as well, because before that I would have been shut off to it. Like, I wasn't ready yet to take that step. But it just seemed to perfectly universe aligned. And doing that degree, then I met you, and then the other, you know, other lecturers and stuff were encouraging speaking te reo and using that in our classes, and it was like, man, that's cool. This should be this should be a thing from now on. It has been since then.
Hard.
And you were along me like on that journey as well. I remember talking about Ro being like, oh, she's so cool. But also saying how much I'd changed, and you've seen that journey like yourself of me going through that.
Yeah.
And he's also been a massive supporter. Like he's proud to be Māori, always has been, and will kind of shout it from the rooftops. And I was like, man, I look up to that so much. Like people that actually really embrace who they are from like a really genuine place. Yeah. And it's just so cool to see. And it's becoming more and more of a thing, which I reckon is awesome.
Yeah.
People tap into
See it on
a
the
bit
news,
more.
even like ads and all that. Like speaking the real way more and normalizing. And it actually surprises me that there's like still a handful of people out there that are emailing and saying like, why is this on here? It's like, bro, like...
It's the TikTokers.
Wake up, man. Like, dude, it's 2021 and like, I know throwing around that saying's like cliche as, but like, come on.
Yeah.
You know, it's just becoming way more normal now.
Yeah.
And can I just add on to the kōrero that with the whole identity thing as well, like I'm just reflecting as we're all conversating, and you know, it seems like the timing of like when you guys went traveling, right, and that enabled you to sort of like pick a new direction. And so I sort of had a similar experience as well. Back in 2018 I went to Bali for a month with my best mate, and we were like, bro, we're gonna go have a mean party time, all that sort of shebang. And like we went on this boat trip, and on this boat trip I was meant to be, let's go back a bit. We were in Bali, and in 3 more months I was going to the UK, and I was meant to go work over there. I was going to do coffee roasting, and I had like a job sus with this cool ass dude. And so it was meant to go over there, but I had this Bali trip, and like when I was on this boat I had this massive epiphany, and it was literally like when I explained this, the only way for me to convey the feeling I felt was as if there was like a fire within me, but it felt like it got lit by my ancestors, you know, from my Māori side, because my dad, he's from the UK, from Liverpool and that. But man, this calling that I had within was just so powerful that next minute when I got back home, just cancelled my visa, cancelled my flights, cancelled everything. And then it was just crazy how by doing that then led me on to going and doing my youth work kind of buzz, because I figured like, you know, this calling within was saying like, bro, you can't go overseas, like you need to be at home. And there was this, it was as if I could see in my mind's eye, like you you know, go back home to Aotearoa, you need to be helping, you need to be giving back and all that. And so I started, like I'd never felt this before, because I was just like on the waka of like, I'm gonna go do my coffee thing. But like then once I had this epiphany, or like, so maybe awakening you could call it, I was just like, I had this whole new, like, I had this download, and it was just like, nah, but my plan has changed, and this is where I need to go. And then so just like went with, you know, that feeling, and it's just brought along so much greatness. And then, you know, that sort of, got me into my youth work. Then that led me into meeting my darling, and then, you know, and us sort of meeting at the time that we did, I feel like it was when, you know, you really sparked that flame within Morgan to own your identity.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it was just crazy, like listening this time and reflecting on that, and just seeing that, you know, we all had a similar experience in terms of traveling, and had these massive like nah, this isn't what I meant to do, like I'm gonna do this. And it was just, I wanted to just say that real quick, because it was just quite beautiful way, like how it's all, you know, things intertwined and things happen. And even with the eclipse last night, like we were looking at it this morning on in terms of maramataka and things like that, and how today is actually a really, really good day. What was it?
High energy day.
It's a really high energy day today. So it's like, and then when you were, you know, saying earlier at the start about the mood, and I was just like, oh, this is ace. Like I was getting goosies, I was like, wow, this is on. Like, so that's so cool. And changing your lifestyle, like how has that been, you know, and with that process? Because it sounds like it's sort of, you guys have done the 9-to-5 thing, and then kind of like, gone, nah, but like, I'm going to go and do the van life sort of buzz. So how was that transition, you know, in life for you guys?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a hard one. Actually, I just want to jump in.
Bro, hard.
Then we'll do that one. But I think like when we, like at the moment, we all really celebrate the Māori, and we find our roots and our whakapapa and all of that, and it brings us some real good vibes and happiness. We feel complete. But I think perhaps that's when you talk about the emails and the comments that come through on that, it's almost everyone needs to be exploring their roots and where you come from, right? And it's one thing that as we've been traveling around the country, I've tried to look at, and that if your ancestors came on a boat to New Zealand, you should know who your ancestors were on that boat, much in the same way as Māori do, right? We know who came on what waka and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, so because you're a European and now you call yourself a New Zealander or a Kiwi, perhaps there's a disconnect for you as to where you're at because you haven't researched who your people were before they came here.
Yeah.
So it's not just important for us, it's important for everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Hard out, bro.
And it's a hard journey. Māori have almost shown that example of how difficult that journey is. And the stories sometimes we unearth of who our family are, it's like, oh shit, you know.
Let's keep that under wraps.
And then we go, well, that's why we don't talk about that. You know? And we, like the whole thing about the kamate haka and don't do it on the South Island.
Right.
Most people just figured that's just, we do it everywhere. So I think that's where I think it's not just a Māori journey, we should be encouraging every person who's in New Zealand to look at where you came from, who you are. And I think that'll help build that happiness for everybody.
Totally.
To feel more complete.
And
it's not a competition. It's actually it completes us to know who we are and where we came from. So it's on jumping on that.
I love that, bro. I love that totally,
I think it would benefit us all. Because a
100%.
lot of times the machine would say, "Oh yeah, I don't feel Māori in that," and I'd say, "Well, look, when I look at your grandparents and they're Irish." And I look at who the Irish are and where they came from. The journey and the stories, there's so
similar.
There are similarities.
Hard,
and the family connections on the Irish side and Roisin's family, they're quite strong back to the homeland. They know who their relatives are. And I think that keeps that alive and keeps some real fulfillment within the family. It's really important. I just want to throw that in there.
I love that, bro. That was awesome for
I
Karo.
encourage that. But back to the other question about the change. I think it's been hard. The van life return, you know, we've been on the road for a year living in the van, and we see the van life return. And we had this discussion, but it's been quite an adjustment to leave behind and downsize our life. And to leave behind baggage, and that's like baggage of how much clothes you take. To
far out.
All the your routines. Being rigid on your routines.
Totally.
Throwing away, well, not throwing away, but recognising old habits which aren't actually going to be successful while you're out there travelling around New Zealand. And real struggles with some of those. Adjusting our thought patterns. Our way of being, I think. You know, I mean, everyone says, "Oh, you go away and you come back a different person." But it's a hard road on that. You know?
Right, for sure.
Definitely.
We had to unpack heaps.
You know? I think the saving grace for us was that we kind of left a house full of stuff in the garage. In Auckland. And moved to Christchurch. We weren't sure how long we were going to be there and stuff. And so then when we moved back, we were like, oh, we don't need any of this stuff. We've lived without it.
True.
So that helped us downsize all of our gear. And so then...
And by giving a lot of it away,
we just...
We don't put on TradeMe and say, oh, look, this price. And people go, oh, that's too cheap. Well, it's not, because...
Don't complain.
That's actually what it's worth. We feel we're being honest with you. We can get more money. Oh, and by the way, when you turn up, do you want this? And,
that's cool.
And just do that. And that kind of led us into that thing of, actually, if we give away what we don't need, helping somebody else out, and the surprise look on people's faces when you say, oh, you're moving into a new flat. Oh, you guys need some of this, man. Why aren't you selling it? It's like, nah, you can have it, man. Just,
that's awesome.
Cool. And being honest and saying, it's not the best, like, we didn't buy anything new for years.
No, so it'd always kind of been like, this one's a Hawkeye's. So quite literally drive and you see something like on the side of the road. Like, I don't know, one time we put a couch on top of the car and I was holding it. We had nothing to type, like, ridiculous
That's so good.
stories. But pretty much everything was either found or we brought secondhand already. So it's like, I can't sell something that has been loved all this time, like, just
hard out.
It's gonna make a difference to you. So that was quite good. So, like, currently everything we have in the van, bar a little bit of storage space in my parents' place
Yeah.
is everything we own.
Wow.
And it's so liberating.
Yeah.
And I'm about to part with the last little bits, I think.
Yeah.
For the hippie that I am, I also have a real love for designer clothes.
Yo,
It's all about balance.
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. But I haven't touched any of them in the
Yeah.
last year because,
Wow.
you don't rock up to the campsite wearing your
Yeah.
flash gears and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I'm almost ready to send them on their way too.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's probably been a big, massive one. I think for me, coming from that super hard working environment, when we had a day that we could just do anything that we wanted, it was super weird.
Yeah.
And
Right.
everything in the van takes really long. So
Yeah.
where our bed is set up is where our clothes are underneath. So in order to be able to get changed in the morning, you've got to
Everyone's got to be out of bed. You've got to
you've got to set everything
Wow.
up, to open, get your stuff out, close it back down, pack it back down.
Yeah.
Everything just seemed to take really long. And, at one point, just before we stopped day, by say 10 o'clock in the day when I would have gone to the gym already.
Yeah.
I would have eaten, I would have showered, I would have travelled, I would have taught a lecture.
Yeah.
All before 10 a.m. And here I am only eating breakfast at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell are we doing? We're wasting time. Even though we had so much time on our hands,
Sheesh.
I was like, we're wasting it. What are we doing?
That's something you really need to think about. I've never thought about that in terms of, living in van life. Your whole routine changes. Because everything does take so much longer. I just think that's a really good point to kind of remember if people are wanting to, completely transform their lives into living in a van.
Yeah.
It's not just the actual baggage you need to get rid of. It's just all your routines and stuff. That's major.
Yeah, everything changed. So that for me was, I think when I started to reflect on it, we are so conditioned, I was so conditioned to be producing.
Yeah.
And whether that is producing actual research or lecturing material, whatever, or whether it's just I'm doing stuff all the time. So jam pack my day full of heaps of different things.
Yeah.
To then suddenly go, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And to bring it all back, it was I found it so weird, eh?
And then to focus on yourself. Because a lot of the time, when you take a moment to meditate or do yoga and that, you're really focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
So when you remove all those the day-to-day things, you realise that actually you're focusing on yourself all the time.
Oh,
wow.
It's everything from washing your face.
Yeah.
I probably got better routines when I was on the road than when I was at home. You've just really got to focus purely on yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you're interacting with other people, you're not interacting about your job or your work or what's the next meeting you're going to.
Yeah, true.
You're actually focusing on the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we spoke about this the other day. It's quite often, I guess, I don't like saying it, but in the real world, I guess, often when we meet people, it's kind of what's your name?
What do you do?
Where do you live?
Yeah.
And then we're not really talking about them.
Yeah.
And we spoke about it. It's because no one wants to know what you do for a job, but why not? Why don't we say, okay, cool, what's your job like? What's youth work like?
Yeah.
What do you do there?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Rah. But we don't. We just go, okay, youth work, and carry on.
Yeah.
we move
And then
on.
I do this. Or,
Or we go, I live, where do you live? And you live in this part of town. We don't go, so what's it like? We don't dig in there.
True.
Right.
That's so true.
Totally.
Yeah, so when we're on the road, we found that actually, you start to focus on wanting to know about people, learning about them. Probably in less invasive ways than what that might have sounded.
Yeah.
It just changed the whole way of thinking, I felt.
Yeah, and I think there were very few times when I asked people what they did for work.
Yeah.
So you're not defined by that.
Yeah.
And I quite liked that.
Yeah.
And then you're asking people about because most of the time you're meeting other travellers on the road, right?
Yeah.
So it's so where have you come from? Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
What experiences have you loved?
Yeah.
And so it's all kind of this experience based. So then you get to know people's passions.
Yeah.
And you just kind of get to the core of someone. We also learnt really quickly that you need to introduce yourself with your name within like the first 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah?
Because sometimes it's awkward. You can have like a full conversation with someone.
And you're like, by
I
the
love
way.
this person.
Yeah.
Who are they? What's their name?
Yeah.
And also it tended to go a bit further
Yeah.
if you kind of got to that personal level straight away
Yeah.
and you solidly make that connection.
Yeah.
Workers.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Yeah. So from all of that, I think one of the changes that I think would be that I'd really like encourage people that I know is that when you do meet someone now,
Yeah.
and you ask them about what they do for work. Actually, ask them about it. Find out about
Yeah.
it. What is it that excites them? What is it that makes them get up every day?
Yeah.
And I guess they might be a complete stranger, but if they haven't got that passion there, then be real with them and say, bro, it sounds like you might want to change.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to make the change, but I'm listening to you and I'm not hearing the passion.
Yeah. For sure.
As you said that, bro, I was thinking like, oh, that's actually really cool, because if we did do that more, then maybe more people could actually uncover like, wow, I am this passionate for my mahi, or of the opposite, and be like, nah, and like maybe that'll be tough to hear at the moment, or tough to realize if that's what it took to realize that. But who knows that from that point onwards, that might just be that pivot or that little nudge that person needed to send them in this way, and it's just going to bring them abundance, greatness, all that sort of thing. Hey, like the power of that, and totally, bro. And I reckon as well, like that "how are you" question, and like it's such a surface level, basic "how are you" that we resort to. It's like the default, but it's like I reckon we need more. Like actually, how are you, bro?
Yeah.
Like, how's life? How's things? How's the family? How's friends, relationships, things like that. Hey, yeah. Wow, that's so cool that by doing that sort of lifestyle really enables that.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
Yeah, there's lots of time for deep thinking.
Oh, I bet.
It's quite incredible.
But without realising it sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's just happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And it would be quite fulfilling, hey?
Yeah.
And then I guess not, just sitting here from 7 till 8 watching Tully, right? You're actually yarning with each other, having dinner, because you can't just look at a screen all day or whatever in nature. Yeah. And I was actually thinking as well, surely your guys' circadian rhythms are just like fire at the moment. Yeah. You're like waking with the sun and going to bed with, with the night and things like that.
It's been quite weird actually, like, because when this recent lockdown got announced, because we were so quick. So we were about a week out from going, maybe we should stop.
Yeah.
And that came about quite weirdly as well. So a couple of months into it, we met this beautiful girl from Belgium, and they had been traveling for a few years, and they were like picking up backpacker jobs as they went. And she said to me at the time, she was like, oh, you need to work. Like, you can't just do this. And even if you've got all the money in the world to just go and have fun for the rest of your life and not have to think about work, you have to, because it gives you that really good balance and it ensures that you appreciate what you're doing. Yeah. And at the time I was like, nah, I'm living the best life ever.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I totally was. And then a few months later, and in fairness, it coincided with winter. So living in a van when you've got ice inside your van is a little bit hard.
Did ice get into the van?
Yeah. We're not sure how low it was. We hit -5 before that, and there was no ice, so we're thinking it was quite a lot colder.
Wow. And that was in Queenstown. Was it Queenstown or?
We had it Central Otago.
Oh, okay.
It was just super, super cold.
Yeah.
And the second time I actually had to jump out of the van through the front door and go outside.
Oh, that was at Aoraki,
open the door.
Oh, wow. Because it just frozen over. Holy.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I'm standing out there in my onesie.
Love it, bro.
Legit. This little dinosaur was trying to open the door.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
But so it did get a bit hard.
Yeah.
Had to remind yourself, I've chosen this. Like, I'm doing this from my own free will. But we started maybe not appreciating it as much. Mm-hmm. And now I know, I went in and I was like, surely like someone's researched this shit and they know what this is. And it's called Hedonic Adaptation. Yep. So it happens with bad things as well, right? And it's our incredible ability to get used to things. So, like, I know for me, when lockdown first happened at the very beginning, it was like, oh my God, the world is dying, everything is changing, this is so horrible.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I was like, I'm in a rhythm now, this is okay, lockdown's still going and all good. Because you adapt to it.
Yeah,
right?
true.
But the same thing then also happens when you're doing cool, awesome things.
Yeah.
And you're traveling to new places all the time, and you're seeing so much incredible beauty. You almost lose that sense of awe and wonder about it. And it no longer gives you that kind of oomph and vibe that you get if maybe you took a couple of months off and you went and got had a bit of mahi going on, and then you can come back and do it again.
True.
So that was a real interesting lesson, eh? It was. And
the mahi that you do doesn't have to be reverting back to what you were doing.
Right.
But you can still use those skills you learned, because there's all those skills that you had then that are transferable everywhere. It doesn't matter what you've done. You know, if you're someone who worked at McDonald's or stuff like that, you know, there are a massive amount of skills that you learn there.
Oh, for sure.
But a lot of people will kind of go, oh, nah, it's just McDonald's. But actually you learn a lot there. You just got to recognise that you can use it. And,
Totally.
And then, so we just try and adapt that and, try and find work that's going to make us happy, because...
Hard.
Well, you've seen what happens if you are in jobs, you know, that aren't really filling that cup. You already know. And I think it's really cool that you're both so self-aware to be able to pick up on that and be like, this isn't working for me. And it's cool that you can do it as a couple as well and be like, this isn't working for me either. We can go through this journey together. I just think that self-awareness, maybe some people may feel that feeling of something's not right, but kind of go, no, it's just easier to stick in my job. Even though I'm there for like 8 hours, you know, like a big period of your time. Or like the money's good there, so I've got the financial stability there, so I don't want to take that risk. Even though I'm not happy, at least I know I've got stability and that's what I'm kind of used to, sort of thing. But it's cool to see and to speak to you guys who have felt that feeling and then done something about it and been like, let's just try to change it up. And we can always go back. You know, you could always go back to the 9-to-5 world. If you ended up wanting to go back there, then like you've got the freedom to do that. But I reckon recognising that feeling is the main sort of switch that people may need a bit of encouragement to do. And it's hard as well because, like, in terms of society and stuff like that, society plays an impact too. Like if I was to say tell a bunch of people that I was going to go live in a van, I can assure I'd be met with like, you're really going to give up your job to do this? Like, you know, how are you going to pay for stuff? How are you going to do this? Is that the right lifestyle? Is that what you want to choose? That sort of stuff. But I think it's about being open-minded and realising that there is more that you can do with your lives. You don't need to do what society is pushing you towards. You can choose your own path and have fun doing it. And like we've seen your adventures and stuff on your Instagram page and being like, man, they see some beautiful places. And your van... Kate Vano, they rocked up in it today and it's huge. Rose seems to think it's small for some reason. I don't know what. They've got a deck on their roof.
It's pretty mean.
We'll take some photos afterwards.
Maybe
and
like
pop
the
them up
podcast
somewhere.
thumbnail on YouTube should be.
Honestly, you need to see this. It's so cool. They've got everything they need. But where did you find that? Where did that start?
You named the van.
Oh yeah, so it's like a bright orangey yellowy colour. We're both complete sun babies. So we thought it was only fitting to name our van after Tamanui Te Rā, the sun. So its name's rather fabulous because it is fabulous.
Oh yeah. Nicely said.
Awesome.
We were super fortunate. So I guess rewinding a little bit. Beginning of 2020, I had a girls' trip booked to Bali. You had a boys' trip booked for a league weekend.
Still gutted about that.
And then we were meant to be jumping on a plane July-ish, doing a week in San Francisco.
Wow.
I think it was about 6 weeks in Mexico, 2 weeks in Cuba, 2 weeks in Jamaica. Gonna come back for Christmas, and then we were going to go again. And we didn't know we were going to go.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit.
Dream, eh?
It was honestly the dream. It was like everything is happening. Like it had been years in the making. And it was going to happen. And then lockdown happened. And we were just like, holy shit. What is this? What's happening? But then we were just like, actually, and when we were in Thailand, we were sitting in a minibus,
Yeah.
with people from all over the world, and by chance, every single one of them had come to Aotearoa.
Yeah.
And
cool.
they were like buzzing. Oh, honestly, it's so cool when you meet people and you go,
Yeah.
where are you from? You're like, oh, New Zealand. And they're like, oh my God,
That's
you're
You
really-
do get met with that, eh? Like, as a Kiwi, I feel like, totally get that
Yeah.
from travellers.
so awesome. And they were talking about all these beautiful places. And we were like, oh, yeah, I've been there. Oh, no, I haven't. Not that one.
Yes.
Not that one. Where
Yeah.
even is that one? I haven't even
that's
heard
it.
of that one.
Yeah.
It's a little bit shame, eh? When they kind of
Yeah, one moment you feel proud because, like, wow, you love the place.
Yeah.
And the other side, they're like, oh, no, I haven't been there. And they're looking at you like, why not? It's only a small country.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I get it. Haven't done it yet.
Yeah. So but then like we'd always gone, oh, it'd be cool to do New Zealand. But then the allure of overseas is always so strong because it's just so much more exotic and different.
Totally.
So yeah, when lockdown got announced, it was just like, oh, I don't want to keep doing, like, we can't keep doing what we're doing. It's not working for us.
Right.
So let's go have an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when you started looking, eh?
Yeah. So, the new thing, hit trade me and Facebook and all that.
Yeah.
And then, I guess just timing was right. We, got a hold of a guy who used to take it away surfing for the weekend. So it was the boys' trips.
Yeah.
And even had the, was it like the old CB radio in it?
Yeah.
The big aerial up the top.
Oh,
the whole
awesome.
deal,
Old school.
So all the dirt roads they were going down, the out of the way places so they could communicate with each other on the vans.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, oh yeah, this van's had an adventure, it's had a life.
Yeah, it's got some character.
Yeah, it wasn't beautiful, glamorous looking.
Yeah.
And and I think it was good timing. He was needing some funds to make changes in his life, and we went down, and Roisin still tells me off now because I didn't really negotiate. I was just like, I love the van.
Yeah.
I'll pay whatever you want.
Honestly,
I can see myself driving this.
Like taking photos of yourself already in it. Like, suit it.
Yeah.
it was so bad, like on the way
cut this
down.
part, eh?
On the way down to Hamilton. And we're like having words before there. And I'm like, right, so we're like, even if we like it, we play it cool.
Yeah.
And we go away and we think about it. We don't say yes, we think about it, and then we'll go back.
Yeah.
Now we took it for a test drive. This one walked straight down the driveway and it's just like, yeah, we'll take it.
Oh,
like,
sucks.
Did we have this conversation? I'm like, no.
In my head, the whole time I was driving it, I was having that conversation. I'm sure I was.
Yeah.
I
But
almost died.
Yeah.
But nah, it's awesome.
Worth it
eh?
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Like it's our home. It's we want to be able to go overseas soon. Hopefully, sort out MOQ, please.
Yeah.
Hard
And the toss up between like, oh, do we part with it and let Ra continue his journey?
Yeah.
Or do we like give it to?
Oh, we can keep the
daughter?
seats
Yeah.
warm.
We're like, yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, do we like?
You can leave it
kind of,
here.
like-
If you,
Yeah,
are you
leave
guys
your
talking about
space.
it too?
we'll take it.
It's we've got just over a year now of memories in that.
Wow.
And you create a real.
It's
real
part of your
connection.
whana, like it does feel.
100%.
Yeah,
The same deal, right? Yeah, it's like
Bro,
we chose a van that had some of our character in it.
Yeah.
And it had things we needed, not the things that we wanted.
Yeah.
Obviously there were things we wanted, but actually it was the ones that we needed that were the important things.
Yeah.
We wanted a bit of a
Exactly.
chilled vibe in it.
Yeah.
Jump up on the deck and sit in the sun, watch the sunset and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
you know?
Oh my
And,
gosh, that's so
yeah.
cool.
So it was really good, and we felt that we'd meet some people or friends that we bumped into, and they go, "Oh yeah, this is so you guys, eh?"
Oh, as
Yeah.
soon as you rocked up, I was like, Rose here. Like, even Mum knew. She was like, she's here. You just tell, and it's just huge. Like, Dad will rock home and see that and be like, what? Have Jack and Morgan brought this new van?
Yeah. Ran
Van's upgraded.
Yeah, far out.
So that's how we got Ra, and
Cool.
it served us well, and I think
Exactly.
it's been really easy to identify.
Yeah.
Us with the van and the van with us, and
Yeah.
we've met new people.
Oh, and it's a buzz as well because, like, what we found on the road, I think maybe the whole COVID situation kind of helped this as well, is we're alongside grandparents.
Yeah.
You know, retirees who have worked really, really hard.
Yeah.
And worked all their lives. And now they've retired and they're in $150,000 plus camper vans. And they're all white, right? They're all white. No, not the people, the vans. You know, and here comes this bright yellow.
Boom. What's up? Like tie-dyed roof and like
Dreadlocks coming down.
Your rose hairs out the window.
So it's a bit of an entrance.
Yeah.
But like, on kind of going back to the societal thing, I find it almost heartbreaking that we're not meeting other younger people, other younger Kiwis. Like you see the backpackers that got stuck. In Aotearoa because of COVID. But I don't think we've really met any Kiwis,
Not too many.
Not retirees that are doing this. And we honestly live, I'm so biased, in the most beautiful country. I'm so incredibly proud to call this place home. Why wait until you're retired, you're of that older age to do it and to enjoy your life. And I'm always of kind of the mindset that the only thing that's real is right now. Like tomorrow's not guaranteed for anyone. Right? We're all kind of told by society that we've got to work hard and buy the house and do all these like big landmarks. But you could cross the street tomorrow and get hit by a car and die.
Boom.
And it's over. So you might as well just make the most of every single moment. So if I'd love to see more Kiwis be like, before I go overseas or not even, whatever. Just
but that's the weird part I don't get is that OEs are so society for you to leave school and then go overseas and go travelling and not have a job for that time and just go live your best life. That's completely acceptable. But then as soon as it's in your own country, it's not. Like that's a weird thing to kind of like unpack. You're like, wait, why is that so encouraged? And if you were, if you're a young person coming out of school and you told your parents that you were going overseas, it would be seen as such an amazing thing. If the reaction, if you were like, I'm going to go live in a van for the same amount of time, that reaction would probably be different. And it's just so strange to think that because like I see your posts and stuff around different places that I've never even heard of. And I'm like, how? Like, I haven't even done that much travelling overseas. I'm like, where have I been spending my time? Like, in Auckland or like, all the places, the go-to places like the Mangawhai and the, like Tauranga, that sort of stuff. Because that's where everyone has bachelors and that's where you go. Where's your favourite spot been? I know it's hard to pick just one. I'm really putting you on the spot here.
Could you now say maybe that like one of those spots could be a spot that the travellers you met in Thailand were like, oh, have you been here? And you're like, nah. Can you say now, like, been there?
Yes, we can say we've been there.
Yeah.
Cool. Would they feature in the favourite spots? I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, like we had this big discussion about your favourite spots because
we get asked that a lot. It's kind of your number one question.
Hard out.
And then we kind of had to break it down into, it's like, are we looking at the best spot for an adventure, the best spot for relaxation, the best spot for, I guess, learnings? So, without any bias, I think the best spot, the favourite spot for me, now, what was one up north, the cross, what was it called? You remember what it was called?
Oh, jeez. The Marsden Cross is there, and it was the site of the first Christmas Mass, but it's...
Roisin, remember Washington.
So
when you go up north, everyone goes to Waitangi, there's Russell and all that kind of stuff. But actually, I'm not sure how far, maybe about an hour and a half away further north, out on the coast, there's a site, where the first missionaries came over, and they held, the first Christmas there.
Oh, wow.
And they set up a settlement there. And a lot of New Zealand, if I'm correct, from there, actually came from this spot.
Wow.
Now, it's a regional park, and there's this giant Marsden Cross where a captain was, some people who died were the Māori chiefs who had travelled to, you have to remember his name, travelled over to England to meet Queen Victoria and that. On the journey back, met them, went to Australia, and then came to New Zealand, made some agreements that the the missionaries could come to New Zealand and come and live in this land.
Yep.
And for us, it never even featured in history.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Wow.
But it quite literally started colonisation in New Zealand, this place.
But we have
to find this place out.
We've studied it.
We have to find this place out.
No, I've got no internet connection.
Even if we don't like remember it during the recording, we'll chuck it in the description or something as well, so that people can. We'll do that.
So for me, this was amazing. It was you stand above the at the lookout point, and you look down, and the usual things. They show you where the power was, where the missionaries were living, and so the power site was this beautiful spot that looked into, I guess, the Bay of Islands.
Cool.
Oh, so it's on that side.
Yes, on the other side
up north. Okay.
It just, for me, it was like I hadn't even heard of this place.
Yeah.
And this is where they first came.
Yeah.
And they protected the missionaries, but then you do the whole thing of, but the missionaries didn't like the fact that the Māoris lived up on the hill looking down on them.
Yeah.
And then they only end up paying for it with, I think, a couple of axes and a couple of muskets, and that was it. And thinking, there's so much history there. I'm going to say it anyway. It's like, when you're a missionary, and I guess I have this envision of you're a good person.
Yeah.
And you go to buy land for a couple of muskets, but the same land from where you came from, it's not worth a couple of muskets.
Yeah.
Where in your good character and and all your upbringing and your religious upbringing, is that okay? And so I think a lot of the issues started there.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know this featured in our history. And maybe for, I guess, the Māoris and everybody up north there, it is. They know it.
True.
But the focus on, I think, Waitangi, I understand it.
Yeah.
But there is far more up there that's gone on. And then, but with that, there's also, it points out different ridges where there were trees planted and that marked the different hapu and iwi boundaries.
That's
really?
Magic.
So for me, I think that's one place.
So that's Rangahoa Heritage Park.
Yeah.
And we honestly went there because I saw heritage.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I like geeky history stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Heritage.
And had no idea that that's what we were walking into.
Amazing.
But the whole place is set up real well, Like you walk down this pathway and there's all these like different signs that tell everyone's stories. So not just this missionary, not just these chiefs, but like the woman, the children.
Wow. That sounds so cool.
Yeah. It was
who had affairs? Who didn't?
Yeah. Really gets into that detail too.
Wow. Which, that was a cool place.
That sounds like a great magic spot that I'm surprised it seems like it has such an impact on history, but we haven't learnt it, and I'm like, we've focused on so much on other parts, which like you said, it's fair enough, like that Waitangi is, what it is, but just to know that, and there's probably so many more out there that we're still trying to figure out, and so I think it's really helpful that even like following you on Instagram, finding places like that, by you posting it, can go give us ideas and be like, hey, we don't need to just go to Mangawhai every time. Like, we can go to other places.
And it's actually like only a little bit further to go to these other places.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah, and when you stand there and you look out, you can go, man, this would have been really cool, eh?
Yeah.
Back in the day, even if you're the Māoris up on the hill, the spot's beautiful.
Yeah.
If you're the missionaries, you may have been down below, but actually the beach where they were.
Unreal.
It was stunning.
We always play the, I wonder what conversations went on here.
Who walked here.
Like imagine having that ability to like see the, like if you could, the ghostly figures like that were on this exact point, and imagine if you could just stand there and just I bet you'd be surrounded by them. They'd just be heaps.
Oh, and you felt it, You felt the white aura of this place. It was
awesome.
It was buzzy. It was like, ooh.
Yes, that's mine.
You set the bar real high.
It's like Tahiti all over again.
But the variety,
us Jackson.
But on that note, coolest way to learn New Zealand history. Like, I know that the government's at the moment trying to build a curriculum to teach, the New Zealand wars and all that sort of stuff, but if every young person had the opportunity to travel all those spots,
Yeah.
it just brings it alive when you're
Yeah.
standing there. And unfortunately, some of them are in private hands now, and you can't really go to these
Yeah.
places and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But just to be there, to see it, and to experience it is
Next level, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And I didn't even realise, this is a bit of a side note, but up until recently, I didn't realise that in schools, they're not obligated to teach about New Zealand land wars and stuff. The teachers can choose whether they want to or not. And I didn't know that until I was talking to a friend of mine who's a teacher, and she was like trying to get research and stuff about it. And then I was like, that's amazing that you're teaching that, like, this is cool. And she goes, yeah, but I've chosen to teach it. You don't actually have to. And I'm like, what? Like, that blew my mind in itself. I was like, how are we not teaching this?
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
It's
it's just,
incredible,
it's something that you learn later on in life, which, I mean, and I can guarantee in social studies when I was young, I probably wouldn't have paid much attention. I wish I had, because there probably was heaps of good stuff there that I'm like, I could use now. So if you are still in school and you take social studies, like, make sure you focus. It's a really important class.
Do the mahi get the treats too.
Yes, totally.
And the knowledge terms as well.
But yeah, I just found it so strange that, and it again comes back to that whole thing of we're living in a land that we don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And that's not really our fault.
No.
You know, like, it's not anyone's fault per se, but it is, there are definitely places where that could have been encouraged to learn more about, had it been an open conversation.
Yeah.
Have you talked to the right people, sort of thing, then you can learn more for sure. And we've got the internet, you know. It's so accessible now if you want to research it. But I think being there in person would just be a game changer if you can feel that Wairua, like, you get like the shivers.
Legit. I'm like getting the shivers of excitement to go there, because we're meant to be going up north over New Year's and things like that. You know, hopefully we can get up there. Because we went there last year and staying at all of like the Ngāti Kuri dock sites along there.
Wow.
Unreal.
Cool.
Just amazing. Like we ended up in last year, the spot we were at for the longest was Rarawa.
Okay.
And we were up in Rarawa, and like, do you guys know where Rarawa is?
No.
It's
there's like so
honestly,
oh my
God,
you can travel for a whole year and still not go everywhere.
Yeah, so this place it's like, do you know where Hohora is?
Yes.
So it's like 25-30 minutes north of Hohora. So you keep going up, and then you're driving up the guts of like that last little peak of the North Island, and then you just do a sharp right and you go straight for like 15 minutes on like gravel roads.
Oh yeah.
And so then you end up at Rarawa, Rarawa Beach, I believe it's called, or something like that. But anyways, it's stunning, and so there's an amazing dock campsite there, and we ended up there, and just like, even there was just some sense of feeling there, like it was just, you know, it was quite close to Spirits Bay, and I haven't been there, but I've heard of some stories, and just like the whakaaro of what goes on, and you know how that place operates, it sounds just like it's just sacred as. So keen as to go there too. But yeah, the up north is just like something else, like I love that place up there.
Nah, it's so rich. We stayed at Kapa Wairoa, Spirits Bay, and it's stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. And we had this conversation the other day as well. It's like, does that feature in one of your top beaches? Right? Because we find it a lot easier to kind of break things into category. Like your top waterfall, your top beaches, your top
power pie is from the shop here. Man, I saw that. I was like, that looks, I wanted one. I haven't had one
That's right.
But I saw it and I was just, I still have it in my mind, and that was ages ago.
I've never driven over an hour for a pie,
And it was worth it? Was worth it?
Well, I didn't eat it, received it.
Holy crap, yes. So, shout out Cafe 35 on Highway 35. Your power pies are mint.
Sponsor us.
That's on.
But so with that story, we had travelled through that area, Tokomaru Bay, we travelled through there, and it was the 1 or 2 days that they were shut. It was like a Tuesday or something, and they didn't open until Wednesday. And we'd been given a heads up in Whakatane. We'd like gone and checked into the gym. We do go sometimes.
You're the gym mate that you keep bringing up.
I work out. And
we're still paid.
And got talking to the bro who was working there, and said where we were going, and he's like, "Oh, you have to stop and get a power pie." And power is a weakness for me. It's there, and I'm
true.
and so I think we went from Gisborne, we
Yeah.
ended up kind of basing ourselves in Gizzy for about a week or so.
Yeah.
And drove over an hour to go get this pie when they opened.
Well, I'm still thinking about it like months later, and I didn't even have it, and it's still in my mind. But I want to get it from there. I feel like nowhere else.
You have to.
I've got a long drive.
So we hear up north around Cooper's Beachway, there's a bakery up there, and they sell them. The bros up there were telling us that their ones were the ones.
Better.
And we went there and they were
Yeah.
sold out, so we're like going, oh, so it must be good.
Exactly.
Oh, mate.
I love it. But going back to Kapawairoa, Spirits Bay, it's a pretty magical place, It's so stunning, but it's not your average beach. It's not the kind of the beach that you'd go and like sunbathe on.
Yeah.
I've heard about that. I've heard of that.
Because you just, you feel
something there.
feel stuff there, and it's the pathway up to Cape Reinga, and
It's like you said, you're sitting there and you're sunbathing and you're feeling all good and your ancestors are all wandering by.
Walking over you like,
Not the place.
No. Hard out.
I don't want that.
Having a drink too, probably, or something
Well,
like that.
yeah.
Nah, bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a pretty special. When we stayed there, actually, we did the sunrise mission to Cape Reinga.
What's that?
So we woke up at some ridiculous time in the morning I don't even know how far away was it?
Just under about 40 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah, so we I think 5 something, jumped in the van, drove all the way to Cape Reinga to see sunrise, and we had the entire place to ourselves.
wow.
And that was you kind of sit there and
Oh my god.
I don't know what. Yeah,
That gave me goosebumps just even then, because it's
And-
like you're at the top of the country, and I don't not many other countries you can just be like, and
At
in
the
front
top
of
of.
this is nothing for ages, and we are at the top. Wow.
And we had the meanest
That would've been
conversations,
unreal.
So we saw sunrise and kind of did our thing, and then we went back to the van and we had breakfast, and then we're like, let's go back out there and let's have a little wander and stuff. And we sat there looking out over the beach, and then we just had these mean as in-depth conversations about the meaning of life and the afterlife and what that might look like. And,
Wow.
so you go to these places that really make you think about what are your values, what are your beliefs.
Yeah, brings it out of you, certain environments for sure.
Wow.
That was pretty special.
So was that your favourite place then?
It's one of. That's one of my favourite for sure. I think, for me, on the travels, nature's had a massive impact on me. I've realised that being in raw, untouched nature as much as possible is such a healing environment for me to be in. So one of my favourite places is kind of in the Waitomo area.
Okay.
And it's called Mangapoho Natural Bridge. And it used to be a cave. And then it's a collapsed cave now, so it's created this natural bridge.
Oh, wow.
So there's this beautiful little river that kind of flows through it, and it's stunning during the day. So you go over and you check that out.
Yeah.
And then the car park is a freedom camp, so you can stay there.
Sick.
And then you go back in there at night, and
Yeah.
it's a city of glowworms.
Wow.
The most insane amount of glowworms I've ever seen. And they're everywhere, and it's intense, and it's free, whānau. It is free.
Nice.
So you can go down the road and you can pay to do your Waitomo tour, and not to see that, and they need your money, so go and spend it.
Hard out.
But this was it's right here. It's the way nature should be, right? You shouldn't really have to pay to go do that shit. And we had the whole place to ourselves, except for we met a German photographer, and we had a conversation with him in the dark, completely in the dark. Around the beauty of this place. And then we bumped into him in Central Otago. And we didn't recognise him at all, because
You're not in the dark anymore.
But he recognised Ra.
Oh,
Hey,
shot,
oh,
Ra.
man.
man,
He's like, I've actually met you, and this is where we met. But that place, honestly, that was just so beautiful, and I hadn't really heard people talk about that one either. It was just someone that, we use Campermate, and on Campermate, there's the little pink icons that come up are things to do.
Yeah.
So we kind of just look on the map and we're like, where's close that's got things to do? And we pretty much go and do all of them.
That's so cool.
And yeah, so that one came up. I'm like, oh, we'll go check it out. And
And I love that you can get the beauty of like the daytime, it looks cool, and the nighttime's got a whole different vibe to it, but it's the same space, but just in different lighting. And I think that's really cool to be able to see. It's kind of like you're getting two experiences out of the one.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, like it's like you're coming back to a whole different new one.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So you have to go check that out.
Fine, we're over an hour now.
Sorry.
No, all
I
good.
told you that was going to be bad.
No, that was my job, was to keep track of time, but of course we just get blown away.
Yeah, but like the thing is like I love to set a rough time, because it's kind of like a guideline, and I reckon you need it. But like in the same breath, if the kōrero is going to go on for an extra hour, 2 hours, like that's what I'm like, Katie Pie with Hundies. I'm like, like this is mean, because we were meant to talk about it, you know, like we go in, this is our idea, but cool, and then it just branches off into these other beautiful little like sub chats and stuff, and but I've taken away heaps, and like
same.
I'm really, I honestly feel like my cup's been filled up heaps just from having this kōrero with both of you. It's been like just so refreshing, and it's actually getting me pumped for traveling back in the van and getting back in the So my van's name's Wendy, so me and us getting back into Wendy, and then we'll go for a little tiki tour. But so. Just one last thing before we finish up the podcast. One thing we like to do is just sort of like ask, if there's any sort of tips that you have for people, or maybe like things that you do for yourself to keep yourselves in check. And when I say in check, I just mean, kind of sticking to your authentic self and things like that. What are some of the ways that you do it? And maybe if you've got any thoughts or whakaaro on how others can do that for themselves too, that'd be mean.
That's a good one.
I was already looking at you.
Okay, all right. I guess, like I just mentioned, like nature for me is a massive healing space. And so when I need to refill my cup, it's like, cool, I need to go and just immerse myself in nature and get amongst that. I'm also a mad journaler. So like every single day I'm journaling, and that's everything from what was the highlight, what was the low light, but also kind of like looking at it, it's like, what's an improvement I can make today? So always kind of trying to show up as my higher self is really important. And then, setting that intention for the day. And I totally believe it works. Like just waking up in the morning, first thing, just go, today is going to be, brought to you by the word this. Old School Sesame Street was brought to you, by the letter
I
E.
love that.
Whatever. It's like, no, so today, today is going to be brought to you by the letter, peace or calm or grounded or, fulfillment,
focused,
accomplishment. And it just sets me on that tone. So that's mine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Follow that.
You do that?
No, you do. I know you do. I do hear that every morning.
I watch you do it.
Yeah. I don't have to sit down and sit with you. I can just like be over there and.
Yeah.
And I'm going, this is how the day's going.
Yeah, what's the word of the day?
Sorry, didn't hear that?
Crack up.
I think, when I spoke before about, that way in which we interact with people and we ask them about what, where they come from, what they do and all that.
Yeah.
I think, is to engage in those conversations. A lot of times I think we don't engage in that because we're worried we're going to get the same back. And we're going to be asked it, right? Yeah. So you've got to be open to, comfortable to have that conversation back with them. So,
hard out.
So for me, a lot of the times in the previous roles I've had, I've perhaps been, how to word it, in control of the narrative. Because it's had to go a certain way because of the roles I was in. And so I had this really bad habit of, we would meet people and I would always want to try and get the conversation going and try and move in a direction. And I've learnt not to do that. So, and the way I've learnt not to do that is to just sit back, listen to what everyone's saying, ask them about themselves, learn from that, and be accepting that they can ask us back. And being as honest and real back with them.
Yeah.
Nice. And I think I used, I used the word and be vulnerable with that.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what they're going to do with it and all of that. But it doesn't matter what they do with it or how they react or anything. I've just shared who I am with you. It's, you can do with that as you please.
Yeah.
I think, that's probably been the one for me.
True.
Yeah, so...
Great
we've met
ones.
some amazing people, man.
That's awesome.
As a result of that, we've met some people who come from some real upper echelons of society to those that have done time. And there's really not that. Well, to be fair, there's not that much difference between the two.
Wow.
There isn't. There isn't. They might think there is. But, and they both tried. To be honest with of those ones, they've both tried to close the gap. But I think. It's not through their lack of trying, it's society in between.
That kind of makes it difficult.
But reality is, those those individuals and those humans, actually, I think if we were all to sit down in a room together, it'd be sweet.
Yeah.
We would share experiences that are the same, we would all talk about it.
Hard.
Yeah.
So that's mine.
And people at their core are really good. Like, the amount of amazing times we've spent with complete strangers who have just opened up and shared, who they are, everything to getting given a cray for breakfast in the morning. Just the kindness from people is unreal.
That's sick.
So put yourselves out there, be vulnerable, open up. Don't be afraid to go over and say hi and what are you up to, and you'll be more times than not, I think, real surprised at what you get given back.
That's cool.
That's nice.
Probably something that we spoke about, I think it's kind of important for me to say as well, is that we're through, I guess, tragedy and good fortune, we got in a position where we could do what we're doing. And a lot will hear the term van lifer, and on Instagram there's that image of what that is. But what we've noticed in the last year is that quite often we would be in places where there's lots of van lifers and I guess backpackers. But also a lot of homeless. That this is actually their life. So for me, they are the true van lifers because they're living their entire life is in that van. And while we say it, we're in a fortunate position that we could pull a pin on that and stop it. There's so many out there that aren't. That are almost nomadic in their lifestyles. They're moving from job to job. They can only afford to go up the road to relocate because the council says you can only be in that spot for 3 days, 5 days. So, I think it's really, for me, it's really important to realise that we live quite a privileged.
It's fair,
And I always struggle with that. Whenever Roisin reminds me that I'm quite privileged, I go, oh, fuck no, man, I grew up in South Auckland. It's like, there's no there. But actually, even within your own boundaries of that, there's still, so, I just want to...
No, that's awesome, and that's so true. I think that's a really good thing to be mindful of and to be able to recognise, but also speak about and acknowledge it yourselves and be like, we are privileged. Like, there are people out there doing it really, really rough. And we're able to enjoy this experience, but with that luxury of being able to come home or having like a little bit of storage in places and things. I just think that's a really cool kind of thing to think about and kind of plant the seed in people's minds because, van life on Instagram, you see some of the vans out there and I'm like, that's bigger than my house. Like, they've just got everything and it like looks aesthetically pleasing and they've got like, I've seen vans with like heaps of plants and stuff, but they're not like secured down. And I'm like, do you drive with that? Isn't that going to tip over? I'm like kind of trying to pick faults. I'm like, that'll fall off.
Where's
that'll
the
fall
strapping
off.
that holds this down?
Like, surely it doesn't look like this all the time. We had a conversation before this, being like, if you want to take a photo of your van, you kind of have to clean it up because you don't want it to look like the reality of what it actually is. But I think it is cool to see the realness and stuff come through your Instagram. And just show what you can actually do it. If you want to go live in a van, go live in a van. Like, try it out. If that's something that you're pulled towards, maybe listen to that calling and kind of put things in place in order to get to where you want to be. Because if that's what brings you happiness, then chase that happiness. Don't chase the rat race, if that's not your thing. And if it is your thing, go for it. Work in your offices. Like,
that fills your cup.
Gangster.
Stoked for you.
For sure.
So at the end of the day, it's sort of just genuinely do what makes you happy. And just see where it goes. And, there's always other options out there if you do change your mind. It's not, you can always sell the van that you bought or whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah, we'll wrap it up here. But honestly, I could talk. We could both talk for hours if we had the chance. I'm surprised the laptop hasn't died, and we're still going. But
I'm like, shucks, I hope it stayed recording the whole time. Yeah, we got some golden moments in this one, eh?
Yeah, the whole time the camera's not working or something. But yeah, just wanted to say a massive thank you to both of you for taking your time coming out here.
Yeah.
I know that you were just staying in Piha, but it does have a different vibe being in person. You're our first podcast in person as well.
Cool.
So you can have that claim to fame. I'm stoked that we got to see your van and stuff as well and check out that, because that gave us a lot of inspiration for ours. But yeah, I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again, like the impact that you've had on my life, I know that people will get stuff out of this that will surely, from both of you, had such insightful things to kind of mention that I wouldn't even think to talk about. Coming into this, we kind of had an idea of what you did as lifestyle and that sort of thing, but it's the little details and the little, the little things that really bring the most sort of joy. But yeah, just wanted to say massive, massive thank you. I feel like I've got my idol sitting here in my lounge, and I'm like, once you leave, babe, we're gonna be like, oh my days. And then we're gonna go see our friends this afternoon, and we're gonna be like, boys just did this. But yeah. So thank you so much for being just your authentic, true selves as well. And thank you for opening up to us about some of the life struggles that you have had. Sometimes life can really throw us those curveballs and it can really hurt. But it sounds like that was such a transformational time for you, and you've used it in a way to push you forward rather than keep holding you back. So I just wanted to say massive thank you. And where can we find you on Instagram? Do you want to plug again?
So we are Culture.Travel.Groove.
Culture.Travel.Groove, love that.
But no, honestly, it's been so much fun. This has been really cool, and just love the vibe, eh?
Sharp. You
are definitely transforming that online space, bringing that positivity. Keep doing it. It is so important.
Yeah.
So we will be following your journey.
Cool.
Sharp.
Sharing the hell out.
And we're gonna get we're gonna get Wendy and Ra together.
Straight up. Straight up.
Love.
Straight up. Let's do it.
I can't wait.
We'll suss something out.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do episode 2. We'll do a check-in of how we've been over that space,
Yeah.
We'll do another one out
and
in
we'll
the
go
sun.
to all the cool places that you've mentioned as well. I think
Do it in a nice spot.
if anything, people will get really cool ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
And just, encouragement to the Instagram podcast world out there. It's weird. To travel the country, see what's out there. There's so many beautiful places there, which, I just think it'd be a waste not to. There's nothing stopping you, especially because of COVID. We can't really travel overseas, so now is the time, once borders open and stuff, now is the time to start exploring your own whenua, and
totally.
Awesome.
Do it.
Cool.
Me.
All right.
Shot team, that's us.
That's us.
That's us.
Shot, well, if you're still listening now, you're the man, you're the girl, you're the woman. But haven't been Dave Whānau, and we'll catch you soon.
Yeah.
Sure.
Bye.
Yeah.